NFPA 101 Life Safety Code requires switches at the bottom and top of stairways to control lighting. IEC 60364 electrical installation specifies that all switches controlling lighting in escape routes must be clearly marked and easily accessible. The International Residential Code, or IRC, requires stairways to have a switch at the bottom and top of the stairs to control lighting. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not specifically address the use of a dimmer switch to control stairway lighting. However, it does require that all switches controlling lighting in exitways be clearly marked and easily accessible. Based on these safety and legal considerations, using a dimmer switch to control stairway lighting is generally not considered safe or legal. The primary reason is that a dimmer switch is not a clearly marked or easily accessible switch, as required by codes. There are additional concerns to consider. Firstly, dimmers can fail, leaving the stairway in darkness in an emergency situation. Secondly, dimmers can delay illumination, creating a potential tripping hazard. Thirdly, dimmers can reduce the brightness of the stairway lighting, making it difficult to see in low light conditions. The safest and legal way to light a stairway is to install a standard snap switch at the bottom and top of the stairs that directly controls the lighting fixtures. While the house was passed and phenolied with the stairway switching wired this way, it is important to note that it does not meet the safety and legal requirements for stairway lighting. It is recommended that this issue be corrected to ensure the safety of the occupants. The key codes to consider include NFPA 101, IEC 60364, IRC, and the NEC. These codes emphasize the importance of having clearly marked and easily accessible switches at the top and bottom of stairways to control lighting. Dimmers are generally discouraged due to their potential to fail, delay illumination, or reduce brightness. Standard snap switches are recommended for their reliability and compliance with safety regulations. When evaluating the safety and legality of electrical installations, it is essential to consider various factors, including code compliance, potential hazards, and the specific application. In the case of stairway lighting, the primary concern is ensuring the safety of occupants in emergency situations. The use of dimmer switches in stairway lighting presents several safety concerns. Firstly, dimmer switches are not always easily identifiable, especially in low light conditions. This can be problematic if someone needs to quickly locate and operate the switch during an emergency. Secondly, dimmer switches can be more complex to operate than standard snap switches, which can cause delays in turning on the lights. This delay can be critical in a situation where someone needs to quickly navigate the stairway. Thirdly, dimmer switches can sometimes fail, leaving the stairway in darkness. This is especially concerning in older dimmer switches, which may be more prone to failure. In addition to safety concerns, there are also legal considerations to take into account. Many building codes and electrical codes require that stairway lighting be controlled by switches at both the top and bottom of the stairs. These switches must be clearly marked and easily accessible. Dimmers may not meet these requirements, as they can be difficult to identify and operate. The International Residential Code, Section R303.6, specifically requires that interior stairways be provided with a wall switch at each floor level and landing level that includes an entryway to control an artificial light source located in the stairway. Where stairways are provided with 3 or more risers, a wall switch is required at each floor level and landing level that includes an entryway to control an artificial light source located in the stairway. This requirement ensures that occupants can safely navigate stairways in both directions, regardless of the ambient lighting conditions. The NEC in Section 210.70 A2 addresses the requirement for lighting outlets controlled by a wall switch in habitable rooms and hallways. While the section does not specifically address stairways, it does provide guidance on the placement and control of lighting outlets in residential occupancies. The NEC also includes requirements for emergency lighting systems in certain types of buildings. Section 700 addresses emergency systems, which are intended to provide illumination and power for essential equipment during power outages. While emergency lighting is not typically required in single-family dwellings, it may be required in other types of occupancies, such as apartment buildings or commercial buildings. In the context of stairway lighting, it is important to consider the potential for power outages and the need for emergency lighting. If the stairway is a critical means of egress, it may be necessary to install an emergency lighting system to ensure that occupants can safely evacuate the building in the event of a power outage. When evaluating the suitability of a dimmer switch for stairway lighting, it is important to consider the specific requirements of the applicable building codes and electrical codes. It is also important to consider the potential safety hazards associated with dimmer switches, such as their complexity, potential for failure, and difficulty in identifying them in low light conditions. In general, it is recommended to use standard snap switches for stairway lighting to ensure compliance with safety regulations and to minimize the risk of accidents. These switches should be clearly marked and easily accessible, and they should be installed at both the top and bottom of the stairs. The rationale behind these code requirements is rooted in ensuring the safety and accessibility of stairways for all occupants. Stairways are inherently hazardous areas, and adequate lighting is crucial for preventing falls and injuries. By requiring switches at both the top and bottom of the stairs, occupants can easily control the lighting regardless of their direction of travel. This is particularly important for individuals with mobility impairments or those who may be unfamiliar with the layout of the building. In addition to the placement of switches, the type of lighting used in stairways is also important. Adequate lighting levels are essential for providing sufficient visibility and reducing the risk of accidents. Building codes typically specify minimum lighting levels for stairways, which must be maintained at all times. The use of energy-efficient lighting technologies, such as LED lighting, can help to reduce energy consumption while still providing adequate illumination. Regular maintenance of stairway lighting is also essential for ensuring its continued effectiveness. This includes replacing burned-out light bulbs promptly and cleaning light fixtures to remove dust and debris. In addition to code requirements, there are also best practices that can be followed to enhance the safety and accessibility of stairways. These include providing handrails on both sides of the stairway, using contrasting colors to delineate steps, and installing tactile warning strips at the top and bottom of the stairs. By implementing these measures, building owners and managers can create safer and more accessible environments for all occupants. When considering the use of dimmer switches in stairway lighting, it is important to weigh the potential benefits against the potential risks. While dimmer switches can offer energy savings and aesthetic appeal, they may not be the safest or most code-compliant option for stairway lighting. In most cases, standard snap switches are the preferred choice for stairway lighting due to their reliability, ease of use, and compliance with safety regulations. It is also important to consider the specific needs and preferences of the occupants. Some individuals may prefer dimmer switches for their aesthetic appeal or energy-saving potential, while others may prefer the simplicity and reliability of standard snap switches. Ultimately, the decision of whether to use a dimmer switch in stairway lighting should be based on a careful assessment of the relevant factors, including code requirements, safety concerns, and occupant preferences. If there is any doubt about the suitability of a dimmer switch, it is best to consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. In addition to the above considerations, it is also important to be aware of any local amendments or interpretations of the building codes and electrical codes. These local variations can sometimes affect the requirements for stairway lighting, so it is essential to consult with local authorities to ensure compliance. In summary, the use of dimmer switches in stairway lighting is a complex issue that requires careful consideration of various factors. While dimmer switches may offer certain benefits, they also present potential safety concerns and may not be code compliant in all situations. Standard snap switches are generally the preferred choice for stairway lighting due to their reliability, ease of use, and compliance with safety regulations. By following these guidelines, building owners and managers can ensure that their stairways are safe, accessible, and code compliant. Furthermore, focusing on clear and consistent lighting could significantly improve safety. Consider the color temperature of the light bulbs used. Warmer tones, while aesthetically pleasing in some areas, can reduce visibility compared to cooler, brighter lights, especially for older individuals whose vision may be declining. Ensuring uniformity in lighting levels is also crucial. Abrupt changes in brightness as one ascends or descends the stairs can create momentary disorientation, increasing the risk of falls. This can be achieved by using multiple light sources spaced evenly along the stairway, and by avoiding shadows or glare. Handrails play a significant role in stairway safety. They should be sturdy, easy to grip, and extend the full length of the stairway, including any landings. The height of the handrail should also be compliant with building codes, typically between 34 and 38 inches. Regular inspection and maintenance of handrails are essential to ensure they remain in good condition. Any loose or damaged handrails should be repaired promptly. The condition of the steps themselves is also a critical factor. Uneven steps, loose carpeting, or worn treads can all create tripping hazards. Steps should be regularly inspected and repaired as needed. Non-slip surfaces should be used on all steps, especially in areas prone to moisture. Consider adding tactile warning strips at the top and bottom of the stairs to alert visually impaired individuals to the presence of the stairway. These strips should be a contrasting color to the surrounding flooring and should be easily detectable by touch. In addition to the physical aspects of the stairway, it is also important to consider the behavior of the occupants. Encourage occupants to use the handrails and to avoid carrying bulky items that could obstruct their vision or balance. Post signage reminding occupants to be careful on the stairs and to report any hazards. Regular safety audits of the stairway can help to identify potential hazards and to ensure that all safety measures are in place. These audits should be conducted by qualified personnel and should include a review of lighting levels, step conditions, handrail integrity, and signage. The findings of the safety audit should be used to make any necessary improvements to the stairway. Finally, it is important to stay informed about the latest building codes and safety standards related to stairways. These codes and standards are constantly evolving as new technologies and best practices emerge. By staying up to date, building owners and managers can ensure that their stairways are as safe and accessible as possible. Remember, a well-lit and properly maintained stairway is an investment in the safety and well-being of all occupants.